Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino, and boy, have we got a good one for you here today because we're so excited to get the chance to catch up after the season with the great SIA Award winning Carolyn Wiger. Carolyn, how are you?
Can I correct you? It's actually Uyghur.
Wiger. Okay, thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. I wish I would have known that 14 weeks ago.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't like correcting it because honestly, I kind of like the way Uyghur sounds better. So I was like, do I correct him? Do I not?
Weaker. Okay.
Uyghur.
Yeah, so yeah, Carolyn, I'm sorry. Sia is not here today, like in our last conversation. Although I didn't want to say at the time. That Sia prize, that was from me and Sia. I don't know why she didn't say anything at the time.
Well,
But
thank
my
you.
name was on the card, I think, also.
Well, thank you.
Yes. No, in all seriousness, Carolyn, so nice to get the chance to catch up. It's been almost a month since the
Oh,
end of your Survivor season. What has the last 30 days or so been like for you?
okay. In my head, and this is for real. In my head, I thought, okay, the season's going to be done, and I'm going to go right back to
Nope.
like work, and I'm going to like.
Never.
And it's not. I really expected that. I really expected, okay, I'll get to catch up on my messages. No, it just got more and more and more busy. And so it's been a lot. But then in the meantime, it's like I'm still trying to like enjoy time with my family and be outside, and it's so nice. And so it's like it's a balance. And I told you, like, I'm doing a lot of videos and I'm trying to do a lot of stuff. And basically I completely thought I would just like, the season's done. Bye-bye. And it's not. Like, it's a lot.
I mean, not after the experience that you just had.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm happy to hear that the experience has been fun. How much have you watched the episodes back? Do you enjoy watching yourself back, or is
Oh my
it torture
gosh.
for you? Yeah,
I watch them too much.
too
Like,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it took me because okay, we were all in Brooklyn for the finale, and so that like I didn't watch because I couldn't hear a lot of it. So like I waited like a week to watch like the after show and stuff like that. But every other episode, it was like clockwork. It was like, okay, watch the episode either at like some event or with my family or friend or whatever. And then I would rewatch it. It was like, and I would watch them like over and over. And then I'd call Carson, I'd call Jam, and we'd watch it together and we'd discuss them together. It was, oh yeah, over and over. I love watching them.
Yeah.
Is it
I
not
mean,
normal? Do people?
I think it goes. They're all people. Some people are all over the place. With people watch it, love it, and other people really hate it. And you had such a unique experience where we saw so much of you. I really thought it could have gone either way. But I would love to hear a little bit more about. We spoke briefly about this right after the season ended about how you were a Survivor game player before you ever got to Survivor. And so did you play the type of game in this season that you anticipated that you would play?
Yeah. Okay. So anybody who has played in an org with me, because I've played on Discord, I've played like the Roblox. That's more of like my calming, like that's more calming, and it's not so long. It's not so long.
You still have to show me how to set that up. My kids, I think, would be very into it.
We get that. Oh my gosh, it's fun, and you just download Roblox, like you just Roblox, Rob, and it's Outlaster, and it's just like it's an hour long, sometimes two. And okay, I used to play the other ones though were like a month long. Okay, and I would say that the way
that's longer than Real Survivor.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was. A lot of them were. But it's time. Like it takes up way too much time. Okay, so I kind of was like, okay, I got to go to the Roblox. But yes, I have played tons of those games, just like way too many to count. And I would say that anybody who has played with me in those online games would say that I was exactly the same person out there. There were times that I was out there and I'm like, and I would think about I call them friends. A lot of them are friends. They are great people. Friends that I met from the online community, the online gaming community, Survivor community. And I would be like, oh my gosh. And I would think of certain scenarios for my online games. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this the exact same way. Or like, oh, it translated like, oh my gosh. So did I answer that? But yes, I would say people probably watched me and were like, that is literally the same person that would play in the orgs. Like,
Yeah. So in the show, it seemed like that you felt like that you were having some trouble fitting in, especially in the early on in the game before you really, it seemed like that you got together with Jam Jam pretty early, and then Carson was a little bit of a, came second. But when you were like initially in the Tika tribe, like how nervous were you?
oh my gosh. Here's the deal, Rob. I know that I'm a little, I know that I'm different. Like, I know that I am different. I'm weird. But in my real life, it's like, here, I'm a little like, I'm weird, but then people get to know me and they're like, oh, we love you. I feel like that just didn't happen out there the way that I thought it would. And for me, I open up a lot. I share a lot. Not everybody wants to do that, Rob. They don't, especially on Survivor, where I expect, and me and Jam, yeah, we were like day 1, 2, we were telling each other our life stories. And that's the thing. But not every Sarah and Helen, they weren't going to be doing that. And so I like, even seeing Sarah, I'm like, oh my gosh, Minnesota. And I remember saying, like, I'm talking about like Superior and stuff, Minnesota stuff. And I think she said like, oh, I've never been to Lake Superior. And I'm like, what? And so, but it just, they weren't, here's the thing, like not everybody wants to do that. And when this game is as fast paced as it is, there's just not the time. There's not to be having all of these like hurt, but people just don't want to get on that level. Not everybody does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when did you feel like, what was the moment where you felt like that things were clicking, when you felt like, okay, things have turned around?
When I got, okay, I had, first of all, having Jam Jam, I felt immediately like a sense of like home, a sense of he gets me. It was immediate. Like I said, I kept thinking like, how, I thought this over and over. How did he get on my tribe? We're so like loud and so like, I just felt like we have these like two just really strong personalities. So I'm like, is this right? And I felt so grateful that he was there because he just got me right away. And then Carson, I knew I wasn't getting in with Helen and Sarah, and I tried, but I can tell when like I'm putting it out there, but it's not just, and I have no hard feelings against Sarah or Helen. Like I love them now, but they weren't putting themselves out there like that. And I know that I can be scary to people. And I know also that it's probably like, I know how I'm looked at. Like I would be the easy first boot and I was doing terrible with challenges and like, why waste your time trying to get to know me?
Would it have been better or worse for you if Bruce stayed in the game?
I always thought like I'm going to get with Bruce. Like I felt good with Bruce. I felt like I could talk with him. I felt like I could be straight with him. You know, he had talked about his wife saying like, don't be that person bossing everyone around. And I immediately was like, Bruce, what are you doing? And so I felt like I could talk with him. I could just talk freely with him. I don't know. Like I've thought about this and I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I would have been with I could have been with like I really do feel like but I know that Helen said that too, and Sarah
could have changed everything. Yeah,
you know, Sarah felt good with Bruce. Everyone did. So,
all right. Tell me about your walk me through your thought process on the birdcage and the birdcage idol, and ultimately, how you approached everything with that.
Oh my God, I was just listening to. First of all, I waited like several hours before I even opened it. Okay. after like going in there, not shutting it and all of that happened, I was terrified. And what people like don't understand about this, like it's not as well, Danny made it look easy, you know, but it wasn't that easy for me. And I came from a tribe where nobody ever left. We never left each other's sides. So when I say I can hear them coming, I can hear them coming, I could hear them coming. I was terrified. So all I could think, okay, I got to get that in there. And then when I screwed it up with not shutting it,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh. So I would just kind of listen and no one suspected me. And everyone's like, how could you not suspect her? And a lot of the reason I had nothing in my bag. My bag, I always had empty. It was always like everything sprawled out everywhere because it was drying or whatever. So I didn't have anything like to go through. But I would listen to what people said. And we were looking at like, there was a map and it looked like a treasure map. And it was like a map of the island. And someone had said a comment about like X's. And then so I was just listening to what other people were saying and what people were thinking. And then I was, okay, wouldn't it be cool? It just came in my head, like, let's do like we have this map. I'm going to find it, or I came across those red sticks and I'm like, I'm going to make some sort of like, I'm going to make it fun. I wanted to like have fun. And I also felt like, you know what? Like there are so many twists. There's so many, this is not going to, they'll believe this.
Yeah. One of the least crazy things that we saw in the season. Yeah.
Right? Like what? It was believable.
Sure. And look, everybody in your tribe bought it, right? Nobody was like, oh, this is fake. So yeah, Sarah's like, I got an idol. All right. I would love to just talk through the Sarah vote a little bit because it was such a big moment in the season. And your decision was in such a spotlight. And a lot of people, everybody, and myself included, like had so much to say about what how you decided to approach that. So could you just talk us through a little bit about and talk about some of the things that you didn't get to say at the time about that Sarah vote and working with Josh on that one?
So this is how I saw it. I saw Sarah as a threat. I feel like Sarah, like on paper, like she is the like does this sound okay? Like the stereotypical like survivor person
Out of central casting, sure. Yeah.
where she is perfect. She's perfect. She has like, she's athletic. She is so charming. She's smart. And I'm not saying like I'm none of those, but I was like, so I felt like she's going to get to merge and she is going to like, she's going to win everybody over because she's got like so I felt like, oh my gosh, I cannot let her get further. And for me, I never felt like I could like get in with her or trust her. So even having Josh like come over, oh yeah, it should be like, oh, let's all like team up now because Josh is over here and we'll vote Josh out. And I thought like, no, I still don't feel like I can trust her. Even like, I just don't. And my thinking was with Jam Jam, I'm like, and I knew I played it up like out there, like, that I thought that him and Sarah were closer. They weren't. And I knew that, but I wanted him to think that like, or I wanted him to feel like that was something that I was truly worried about. But yes, I just thought like, oh, I can do this, leave him out and he'll be okay with it. Cause what choice does he have? So was that smart? Probably not like the smart. No, it wasn't. And was some of it emotional? Absolutely. I'm not going to be like, that was no. It was, I did not want her to be there still.
Yeah.
And again, that was just for moving forward I didn't trust her. And with Josh, like, here's the deal. Josh did not he thought I was the vote. He was having a hard time believing me that I'm like, Josh, no, you are the vote. He's like, no, they are voting you. And I can't remember, something happened right before tribal where he came over to me and I'm like, you better listen up, Josh. This is what's happening. When are you going to believe me? Sarah just came over here and told me that you're saying something about the plan. You are the plan. They're voting you. And I remember feeling like, and I know he said in something like, I was never going to give her my idol. No, I believe that he was.
Yeah.
I do. I don't care. And you know what went on in my head, Rob, and it's not like the right thing to say, but I was like, I can't let him do that. I would feel horrible because I'm way too feely and I'm way too And I remember thinking like, no, don't do that. No, 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 no. Which, that's like the cool move to do. And you want people to play. No, I can't. I'm too human. No.
Yeah.
He didn't believe me though, that he was actually until the very end. And so when I'm going like and they don't show this, but I got up and I whisper in his ear because I'm like, do you believe me now? Like, you are the vote. That went all the way to tribal. And I'm whispering because he thought that I was the vote. Like, he was having a hard time believing. And so anyway.
Yeah, but that's incredible. That really your empathy for him ultimately saved Josh from making, I think, what people would have called like one of the worst mistakes in Survivor history. You saved him.
And I think I honestly, I think that he's finally, and I said, when I had told him, I go, Sarah, I remember saying this right before tribal. Sarah was just down there. She just told me exactly what you said. Do you believe me now? And then I feel like it clicked, but yes, I do believe. Sorry, Josh. Yeah. I love you. I love you. But I do believe that at the time that, yes, he was willing and would have. So that's why when the next day, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, all right. So following that tribal council, and Jam is feeling like he's on the outs. And then also you end up going on the journey with Danny and Brandon. And Carolyn, I just thought that was, I think it was maybe the most iconic moment of the season when you were at the, when you were like, they were ignoring you and you had like so many great reactions and so many great confessionals. And then ultimately, like when you give that great confessional about how you are going to make the merge.
Yeah. Heck yeah. And at the time watching that, Rob, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're pulling like a Debbie on me. I'm Debbie right now.
No.
And when they stop and I'm just staring at the camera.
Yeah.
Rah! Or whatever. That was so scary.
I watched it with an auditorium full of people in Raleigh, and I wish you could have been there because the place went nuts and erupted with applause and people were going nuts. And so could you just talk through a little bit about what that was like for you to go and be there with Danny and Brandon, what you were hoping to get out of that meetup, and then what you did get?
Here's the deal, Rob. Like, and I don't like Danny and like, there's no hard feelings now. And so I want to be able to speak freely without, they know how I feel.
Permission granted.
Well, okay, good. I'm like, and then I think about how George does these and I'm like, he says whatever the heck he wants. So
George is a different guy.
But I love that about him, that he says whatever. Okay.
I love that too.
It's like, we got to be, you know what I mean? Let's just be real. So no, like, and again, they're nice people in real life, blah, 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 blah. Like there's no hard feelings, but yes, when I went out there, it's exactly what I said, where I'm like, I was so excited. So imagine going into something, Rob, where you watch it on, well, you've been there. You watch this on TV, about like these journeys or rewards, or, where you get the food set up, and like, that's everybody's dream. Not only being on Survivor, but being in one of these situations where you have this beautiful, like there's flies everywhere, but who cares?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like the decorations, the art department does amazing. Like it's so cool. I know I always am like, shout out to the art department because it's so amazing, the details and the work that they put in. So I was so excited to go out there and like, I am on Survivor. I'm on a journey. I want to be that person just stuffed in my face. And I thought like, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'm going to give a little bit of information because I don't want to be that like shady, like person who doesn't say anything. I want to gain some allies. So I'm like right away blah, 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 and talking and whatever, hoping to like build relationships with them. And it was like, okay, I went into that like already with a lot of insecurity because of the challenges. And you look at Brandon, you look at Danny, and there's stuff that they didn't show. Like I remember when Sarah got voted out and I came back, then I remember Danny said something like, oh, I'm just surprised. And that wasn't shown, but I was like, of course I immediately thought like, well, yeah, you're probably surprised that I'm still here. And so I was like, it was really, really hard to struggle so bad in challenges. And I knew like there's two dudes who that's what they value. That's what like, we're strong and we're going to tribe strength and all that. Like, I never would have made it if I were on those two tribes. I wouldn't have, like, no. And so I went in there already with this insecurity, but thinking like, okay, I'm going to build something with them. I'm going to share some information. And it just was like, you know, have you ever had someone look at you like that?
Yeah. Well, I am married, Carolyn. So, yes.
No, like,
Yeah. Like,
how
you're
about like
crazy.
that,
What are you
Rob?
talking about? Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so is that better?
Yes.
Like, someone looks at
Yes.
you like, what
Yes.
is wrong with you?
Yes. Yes.
It's like, oh, and I've had that look before. So it really sucked. And I thought, like, just keep talking, just share a little bit, open up. But I just felt so ignored. And it's hard. It's like those little hurdles that I went through. It just like, it was hard. It was hard. I felt like going in, I had my personality like against me. I had the battle of like, do I be myself or do I like contain it? And then maybe people will take me seriously, or like, well, Carolyn, you deserve it. You're acting like a freak. Well, that's me. And so it was hard to just, I feel like it's like I could have said anything, but me saying it, I was not listened to. I wasn't, but that repeated throughout the game. And I do believe it's because of like how I am and how I present myself. It was a constant battle for people. So if you think of someone like Carson, if Carson was like, well, I suspect that the immunity idol is hidden in everyone would be, oh, yes. But if I say it, it's like, I have to try like 20 times harder just to get people to listen to me. Well, that's your fault, Carolyn, because you're such a freak. Yeah.
Well, Carolyn, guess what? Now we all hang on your every word now.
I'm sorry. I'm like, but it was hard, Rob. Yeah. Have I said that before? It was hard.
It was hard.
My eyes out.
And so what did they say? Was it just the way that they were, or did they say that they wanted to like work with Josh? Or was there something that specific that they said that made you feel like that? Okay, well, Josh, I can't work with him anymore.
It was the bros thing. And I'm saying, and I'm just not even including me in the plan at all. Like, do you know that I'm going back there with this guy? Like, why would I want to? And again, he's the fitness instructor.
Yeah.
And if they are already like talking about like us strong bros need to stick together, like I am not a strong bro. Like, why would I like, they did nothing to like make me feel like, and again, like I did push myself onto them. And the fact of the matter is like, I'm not somebody who's looked at as strong. I'm not somebody who's looked at as, well, like he said, you haven't really been proving yourself in challenges. Yeah. So I am nothing.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because like when I saw you is it in the finale when you're doing like headstands on the beach? Like
I'm athletic, Rob. No,
yeah.
But I'm not kidding you. I'm just not strong. But like I am always running around. Like I skate, I play hockey. I'm very active. But you can't. Well, no. Okay, I was just gonna say you can't practice for some of this. But then there's people like
ask Carson.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But there's stuff like how would I have prepared for the net? Like,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I thought I would do a lot better. I didn't.
So you went back and you and Jam, so like you're like, hey, look, no, we're good. It's us. And
that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah. And ultimately Jeff comes and says no tribal council. And you go to the merge and really like this you know, a conversation that, you know, where you're not being heard with Danny and Brandon like spills over into the merge and the mergatory feast where, you know, you're still like, hey, nobody's listening to me. Josh doesn't have an idol. We don't need to worry about him.
It hurt, Rob. And even I don't want to be a baby because I'm over it. But like, I'm not going to lie to you out there. At first, like that first night coming back after whatever, it's done. But yes, I cried. And then like going to the merge, like I just felt like, oh my gosh, I have like worked so hard to be this person that like I'm proud of. But I get it. I'm not like the typical survivor, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but
but look what happened to, Sarah and Helen, who are like
no, I
more
know.
the typical survivors. That I really think in this new era that,
Yes.
the more polished you are, the more that people are more likely to vote you out. So in a way, it's a benefit. It's a camouflage, but it's also that,
I know.
something where, it's also makes it more difficult.
It's hard, like, because again, it's like you wanna like I wanted to obviously like people I didn't want people to think like I was playing and I actually was, but I feel like I had to work like way harder to even be listened to. And that sucks. Like that wore on me. It wore on me because it was just like, oh my God, can somebody listen to me? I mean, you saw even how many times did I have to say I want to vote Danny? And I know I screwed that up a few times. I'll take like there was times where whatever, but it was like I remember when we voted or like the for Kane and then Jam and Carson. Oh, we'll do Danny next vote. How many more votes did it take for us to act like?
Hmm. Okay. So at that vote, you're telling everybody, okay, Josh does not have an idol, and they're still like, yeah, but he might. And so they're still concerned about a backup vote. Something that we never got, I feel like, in the real time was that you were the only vote for Kane, and I think we were all trying to figure out why. Why did you vote for Kane at the merge?
So that was okay. This was me trying to be good and like stick with the okay. And then I never talked with like Brand, but that we had decided like at the merge feast, okay, these are the people voting for whoever. Like we were like divvying out. You're gonna vote for this person. You're gonna vote for, and then it never. And then, or no, then I believe like Carson had said, like, okay, this is what's going to happen. But I didn't want to look like I didn't get a chance to talk with like Brandon again. And I remember thinking, I want Brandon to think that I am someone who's reliable and I'm going to stick with the plan that we had like last talked about. So I wanted to like be reliable to Brandon, but also it was like I didn't want people thinking that I was with Carson and Jam. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it was just, but yeah, it looks stupid, but
Carolyn, we got so much from you in terms of like how you were thinking about the game, or in terms of how like what you were thinking about what was going on. But I feel like that in terms of like what you were hoping to do in the middle of the game, I feel like that it's a little like unclear of like which side. Like obviously we know you didn't want Danny in the game. You wanted Danny to go home. But like what were your ideas about the game like once the merge has actually happened?
I wanted, okay. And this was really, really hard for me because, first of all, I didn't want to just like, I didn't want to just, I wanted to have fun too. Okay. So, like, a lot of like the things, even that I did, like, it was fun for me finding the idol, like making the X. Like, I wanted to have fun, but I can't, like, Robbie was a constant battle out there. Like, do you want to stay or do you want to have fun? And so that's what I would constantly battle. And I remember thinking, like, oh my, and then we had the first vote, like, or the Josh, like the fake, or excuse me, like the fake merge, and then the vote that I wasn't even a part of. So it just felt like a lot of like just time where I felt like I wasn't like a part of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it just felt so blah. But I knew like I need to kind of keep my mouth shut for a while. Like I can't be so loud. I can't be so like in everything. Um, so hold on, what was the question? And then
I just wanted to know like what were your thoughts overall about the game once you like got through the mergatory vote and sort of like at the
it
beginning of the
was be
merge.
quiet. It was
Yeah.
I needed to just kind of like shut up for a while. And I saw like again a lot of it too. It was like I tried to get like I'm not gonna say like I tried. I wanted like a whole girls thing, and I was like trying to like here, this is what happened. And I remember approaching Jamie right away and saying like, oh, this is what happened at the merge or the at the merge feast at the journey, and they had said something because they said something about like Jamie wanting to do a girls alliance, ha ha ha. So I'm like, Jamie, they were saying
Hmm.
something about this, and I'm like, we should do something like this. They were talking about bros and blah blah blah. I remember approaching Heidi. I had I believe talked to Lauren. I can't remember. Whatever. I was trying to get a girls thing happening, but it wasn't sticking. Nobody was. But when I think about it now too, it's like Heidi was so connected to Danny. Franny was so connected to Matt. Like it wasn't, I don't know how, and I was so connected with Jam and Carson. So trying to like do this girl, like, because that was my mission. Like, I'm going to go into the merge. I'm going to rally the girls and we're going to, because I was still on like, from the journey. I couldn't make it happen. I could not make it happen.
So were you convinced that Jam was going to get voted out when he got separated from you on the vote where Matt went home?
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought he was. I truly thought he was. Like I did.
Yeah.
I was worried. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, no, I thought he would be gone. I truly did.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he manages to stay, and it's looking pretty good for Ratu at this point, where they voted out Matt, and then they come back, and Lauren has her extra vote, and ultimately, this is a vote where we're gonna see Danny play his idol on Franny. It's a blindside Brandon, and I think that we don't see you a lot over the course of what's going on here. Where were you during the plan to blindside Brandon?
I was annoyed.
Yes.
Okay, so I remember it, and I can't remember like how I always saw it is like I was with Franny, and I had said like, or oh gosh, no, I'm thinking about or hold up. This was when he used the idol for Franny, right?
Yes.
We had the votes. And so that's what I kept saying is like, what is going on here? We have the votes. Like, he doesn't need to do this. Like, we have the votes. Well, he apparently didn't want to tell Jam about it. Well, obviously Jam already knew. But I remember I was with Heidi, with Franny, with Carson, with Jam, and I'm like, he has the numbers. We don't need this idol. Why is this even happening? Like, let's all.
But Danny just wanted the idol play.
I think so.
Yeah. Look, I mean, people want to build a resume. I feel like this is a big move.
I say that. That's how I feel, because I truly I'm like, we all will vote him. Like, we all, and I get it. Nothing is ever like, no, I don't want to like, because it's true. Like, nothing is ever 100%. He didn't feel comfortable. Like, I get where he's coming from too. We don't know what this person's going to vote. You never know. You don't like, I didn't need my idol. Like, you never know. You never know. But yes, I felt like we were pretty solid, and we all were gonna,
Yeah, look, I think that's a product of the new era that like, okay, day 26 is creeping up. What have I done? Have I made a move? Do I have anything on my resume? And there's only so many times you know exactly where the vote is going and have the ability to do something like that. So, to the guy with a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Yeah. You don't always know. Like, so yeah, but I guess for me and how I saw it, and that's just me and how I saw it, like, I felt like, okay, we have the votes. This doesn't, but
yeah. So Carolyn, after Brandon goes home, in the episodes, there's an off day that we get before the vote where Kane goes home, and in the episodes we get to see you opened up and told people about your life story and how you've overcome addiction. Was there like? Did you decide ahead of time, like, hey, I want to tell my story? And did you, like, in terms of like the timing of like when you feel comfortable enough to open up and tell people, like, it just happens?
I just tell my story. I believe I started it with, so I know a lot of you have already heard this, because I had been talking about it for a long time.
Yes.
I mean, I had like shared bits and pieces from, or just, since day one, where I was like, I'm an open book and I shared a lot, like probably too much. So there was nothing like that. I felt like I have to hide this, or I can't share a certain part. There was nothing out there that I ever felt like I am going to hide this part of me or this part of me. I was not hiding anything. So there was no, I'm comfortable now. No, I was sharing that day one, Rob. It just wasn't showing yet.
Yeah, it just wasn't shown yet. And, I know, like, I know I've even heard from people like how meaningful it was to have your story be part of the season. So I can only imagine how like inundated you must have been with people reaching out to you.
Yes. And here's the deal, Rob. Like, that's what you know how like even watching back and hearing just people like, okay, back to like Vetus and back to hearing him talk about being in jail and like, oh my gosh. And who was it? Was it Nick with his mom and
Yeah.
talking about overdose? Like all of those moments, they really stick out to me. And it's like, I there's so many moments like on the show where I feel like, okay, I learned something or I can relate to, or and it's powerful. And so for me, like I wanted to be as open as I could because I know that there's people who struggle with addiction or struggle with being different or struggle with just accepting themselves and being okay with themselves. So all that stuff, it's so relatable. Like we aren't all perfect. We do not all like have it all together, no matter how much you pretend. And I wanted to be as like unfiltered and as possible. That's the truth. There is not like I can remember like with the cameras and all like everything. And I'm not going to call people out, but like some people had like fake camera voices. Okay.
Yeah.
And for me, like I was just always like, I don't have a cute voice, Rob. I don't, there's not a voice.
How dare you, Carolyn?
No, I don't. Maybe it's, once. Hi. That's my cute voice. That is my cute voice. Otherwise, I don't have a voice that changes. And so who I was out there, like that is the exact like I just let it out. And that to me is relatable. We're, you know what I mean? We're not perfect. Like
well, there's so many things that are so interesting about you, but that I feel like, are you super comfortable in front of the camera, or you just like just are able to just be yourself in front of the camera? Because it was a part of the show where they opened the show with you like doing your first interview and really like, wait, what are we doing? And then we see you really like at the end of your journey being like such a pro with it.
and here's the deal, Rob. I don't like tell me or like who are like that's a very like what do you want to know? That's a lot. Like I don't even with my like audition or like the casting videos, I rarely would say like my name is Carolyn and I'm from I don't like it. It sounds it's just generic. And so I didn't know what they wanted from and I don't like saying like my name's Carolyn and I'm it's just it's not something I would ever naturally say. So it made me uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it's just too broad. So, but no, I'm not like, I practice in front of the camera or like, I just don't care. And not in a don't care as in a disrespectful way. I just believe like, just let me be me. And it's not always going to be pretty. And it's not always get like, when I like some of the voices or even some of the screams and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to turn my volume down. I am very like, I was annoying a lot. I know that. But
Stop it.
It was so loud. Like, why was I going? I don't know.
I don't know why isn't everybody doing that, Carolyn? Because
yeah.
I feel like that I really do feel like you changed this thing. I think that, for years they're going to be looking for more Carolyns on every single show. And I don't think they're going to find another Carolyn, but it doesn't mean that they're not looking.
And I don't mean it like that. Like, I know, like, I try not to read all like the stuff, but like, I know like people are like, there's no way she's like this in real life. Like, yes, I am. Like, you don't know, it's like, this is me. And I that's more than anything. I wanted to just be myself and whatever happened, like, let me just be me. Let me be me.
Yeah. All right. I want to get back to talking about the game. You still are saying like, hey, let's vote out Danny. They're like, no, Kane now.
Yeah, I was sick of it. And that would again, no one would listen.
Yeah.
Even my alliance wouldn't listen to me. Like, it was hard. I'm like,
oh,
we'll get Danny next. And it just never, I felt like that the whole game, like that I had to just try to get people to listen to me. And it was just like brushed off. You know what I'm saying? Why is that, Rob?
I don't know. That I just feel like that people did not, value your opinion enough.
it came down to even the shelter. Rob, do you know what I have in my backyard?
A
Shelter.
shelter, sorry, shelter. Yeah.
Yes. I build those. I'm not going to say professionally, but every beach I go on, every time I'm at the cabin, every time I build shelters. I spent 2020 building shelters in my backyard. I am very good at them. And I remember saying that on Tika, like early on, I'm like, I know how to build these. Like, I'm really good at them. No, Carolyn, let's just try it this. It was just like, and of course, I don't want to be that person
Right.
constantly like, no, I'm going to do it. But that really started to wear on me. I felt like I was constantly battling people's perceptions of me. And I can't, like, that's a first impression thing, right? Like, and first impressions would say, like, I'm going to be out first, or I'm just going to be like that goat that you drake. Like, I know that. I know that. So it's like, oh, it's exhausting.
Yeah. And then Franny ultimately ends up going home. And how big of a blindside was that for you when because it seemed like that yeah.
I knew that her name was out there. Duh. Like, or not duh. I knew her name was out there. What I was blindsided by, like, I didn't think the Carson and Jam. I did not think, and I thought that like they would have told me, and then Jam was like, I told you, you just didn't want to listen. I said, yeah, you told me would consider
Right.
it, but it just, that's like what really, really hurt me. Like, I was like, and I kept like feeling like something's up. And they say all this to me, like, I'm like, something's not right. Something's not right. And I kept going up to Carson and I'm like, something's not right. And he would just keep reassuring me, like, oh, no, yeah, no, we're good. Like, this is the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's switching to height, like all this crazy
Right.
stuff. And again, it's like, oh my gosh, like watching that back and like not believing Heidi, because again, Heidi and Danny were like, and then she ends up being the only one to vote. It's crazy, but that just shows
Yeah.
you like the madness of this. And I'm thinking like, oh yeah, Heidi's starting stuff and I don't believe her. She can't be trusted. But that's the craziness of it. And in my head, and I think Franny said the same thing, the plans change. They do change. Like, and yeah, you can be like the real plan, the fake plan, whatever. But there are so many different plans. Like, you go to each group. I remember one time I'm like, oh crap, what did I just say to that person? Oh, there were times where me being like, I don't even know what's going on. My brain wasn't even caught up to speed yet because it's so many people. Or I'm talking to you like, just imagine you've done it. Like, coming up to you, what do you do? Oh my, just keeping up with the lies. It's so exhausting. And so I really thought like, Heidi's lying. She's up to something. Let's switch it. Like, and then Warren being like, let's just switch it. And I'm like, let's do it. I believed them because I thought like it's the last plan out the door. This is whatever, man. But yeah, I was blindsided by Carson and Jam.
Yeah, and that must have been such a lonely feeling for you because I feel like that, Franny was the only other person you were working with. The people who, you don't just have like a strategic alliance with, but these are basically your like de facto family who have been working with you since the beginning of the game. They left you out of the vote. And we saw that only really through the show, really, the conversations with Jam, but you had said like, hey, okay, Jam, I trust him like 94, 95%, but I trust Carson 99.9%. And he even was not telling you what was going on at that vote.
But how did I come back from that, Rob? Did you see that deleted scene? Like, I come back from it. Here's the deal. People might think like, so, oh yeah, you didn't think that I'd come back from it. Yeah.
I didn't think you would. I felt like that for that. I really thought that, once that you had all patched things up earlier in the game, that it was like, okay, that's it. And I didn't think that you would stand for that. Not to say that there's anything that like, I didn't think that you would be so practical, but you were.
Yes, I can. And that's a skill, Rob. And I use that in my everyday life. And here's the deal. Like, I have those moments even in my real life where I'm like, just give me a minute. Like, let me feel. And I said the same thing. Like, and I know I look like a total hypocrite because I'm screaming at Jam, like, how dare you? And when I did the same thing to him, like, come on. But it was just more so like, give me a minute. I feel hurt. And it's like it's anybody who's like, it's a game and separate it and blah, blah, blah. Shut up.
Yeah.
And even like, I feel like they try to push that a lot. This is an emotional game. I will never, ever, ever be able to play in a way of like, I'm going to keep it and so many people try to do that. And like, good on them. I can't, because you know what? That is my family out there. It hurts. And
Yeah.
with Carson, I like, especially Carson, I couldn't believe. And then Jam, I'm like, we were good though. It hurts because you're like, they're my support. They're who you trust. And this game is constant. It's messing with your mind. And then when you have the people that like you go to and try it hurts. Good. I'll never ever be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I brought it back because I knew like who else was I gonna have after that? Was I gonna try to wrangle up the women again? No, they
And
like
yeah, and you and Jam Jam in particular, you're both emotional, but you're also both mature, where that you were able to like get past that. And, you know, it could have been something that sunk both of your games, but you all like got back together and very quickly.
oh yeah. And I love them. Part of it too is it is so genuine, like my connections with them. Like I love them. I genuinely like being around them. I genuinely like them as people. So it wasn't hard, like to I love Jam, like in Carson too. Like it's a love where
Yeah.
I couldn't stay away from them. Like we had so much fun.
And if you didn't have that, you would have broken up.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
you wouldn't have made it.
We
Yeah.
wouldn't have.
And that's what
and
families do.
and I'll
Yeah.
say I credit Carson. He deserves an award, some sort of a medal. He was, you know how excited, I think it was the last episode where he talks about how frustrating it is to play with me. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Because I was always doing like crazy stuff, or like when I was messing with Jam and like, maybe I will vote for you. And it was Carson who was constantly like, but we have to stick together. We had like, no, and trying to just mediate things.
Mhm.
And where I'd be like, no, and I'm pissed at him, or Jam would say something and we'd be bickering. And then Carson was like, well, no, we just got to you know how like he deserves an award just for being able to put up with me and us. Like he was the glue.
The
Yes.
glue. Yeah. Okay. So you are going to save him with your idol. You're going to play it on Carson. And this was your biggest moment.
I wish it would have, but no, whatever. It was cool. I was so nervous. That was my thought, Rob, was like stuff would change. And so my thought was like, well, what? I really was scared. Like, well, what happened? I'm playing every scenario. Okay, shot in the dark, and what happens if and what if there's some random vote on me and then I get voted out, or Danny? Because I thought Danny definitely could have an idol. He found the other one, and like it was when I'm in the voting, when I'm like, I was playing over I was in there like at least 6-7 minutes, if not.
Yes. And can you talk through that? You wrote down Lauren's name and then you crossed it out. And then we didn't see anything about that on the show. Did she ever say to you, like, Carolyn, did you write my name down?
No, nothing. I don't believe, I don't, gosh, I should have.
Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she wears glasses in real life.
She saw it. Who did she didn't, I believe she didn't think it was me. I can't remember, Rob. I don't know how
We'll ask her if she's.
I want to say she.
Yeah.
Here's my thinking is, okay, I wanted to, oh my God, it's too crazy. Okay. But the bottom line is, Rob, I couldn't get a new part. They wouldn't give me a new parchment. They would not give me a new piece of paper.
No.
What am I going to do? Spend another 10 minutes up there trying to black out the Lauren? I'm like, screw this.
Like, who is this? Who is it? Wait, somebody must have been in there for 20 minutes. Oh, wait, wasn't Carolyn in there for 20 minutes?
I couldn't waste any, like I couldn't, but I'm like, in case he played an idol, and in case I was playing every situation. Well, what if he plays an idol? What if he like, so I had to, and then I put Lauren's name, and then part of me is like, screw it. Like, I couldn't switch it out. I couldn't be in there any longer. But again, that was just me playing out every scenario in case of an idol, in case of shot in the dark. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to put her name. It was terrible.
Yeah. People were trying to get you to vote out Carson towards the end of the game.
Oh, that
And
was real. I wanted
that
to
was
vote him.
okay. You wanted, so what would have been your ideal final three? Was it you and Jam Jam and Heidi?
Me and Jam Jam and Heidi, and that was talked about, oh my gosh, for a little, like, I want to say since I don't know exactly, like it was after Franny, definitely after Franny. I can't remember exactly. I'm the worst. I said to Carson before this, I'm like, I don't remember every okay, I don't. But yes, that was my ideal final three was Heidi. Yeah, I thought I could beat Jam Jam. I did. Sorry. I did. But whatever. Okay. But that was my final three. That was my ideal final three. That was, I believe it was Jam's too and Heidi's. No, Jam didn't want, no, then maybe later. I don't remember. Here's the deal. Yes, I did. And you know how I justified it about Carson? I justified it as like, Carson would be mad at me if I didn't vote him out because he knows how good he is. And he knows. And so I'm like, Carolyn, he's going to be proud. Like, he'd be proud of you.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell myself. Like, Carson will be proud of you. He can separate it, game and emotion. He will be like, no, Carolyn, you needed to do it. And I understand. Because I knew Carson knew he was good. Like, so yes, I did want to, but the problem was, and then he wins immunity, but I still needed him. So there was like, when would I have done it? There wasn't ever a time. There was never a good time. The best time would have been when he won immunity.
I know you've talked about how you were disappointed with the final tribal council. Did you feel like going in that you had a very good shot at it?
I was so just, here's the deal, Rob. I was proud of myself. I knew like, I was like,
as you should be.
Thank you. But by day 26, I was exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically. I was exhausted. And I got, it just became increasingly more difficult to have to explain myself, improve my, like, and that's what you do at Final Tribal. I get it. I get that. But again, I feel like it was like an uphill battle. Like like people just did not listen to me.
Yeah.
They did not. And it was very, very hard. And I'd be lying. Like if I said it didn't impact me, like I felt like this big at times. Like I just felt like, oh my gosh, like what is wrong with me? And then I'd be like, no, don't talk like that to yourself, Carolyn. So it was a constant, I'm proud of myself and I'm doing this and you got this. And then it would be like, I'd get one of those looks and then it was hard.
Was it looks or were there harder questions that we didn't necessarily see?
I think I don't remember like specific. Are you asking like, was there specific? Yeah, there were times like my final tribal by no means was perfect. I also think that, okay, you have people on the jury, like, and for me, like, and I just want to say this too about Jamie and about Lauren, because I know like with their edits and stuff, sometimes it's like, okay, well, what didn't we see? I looked at Lauren as a huge threat. And Jamie was as well. And it's like, we just don't see everything. Like Lauren was like so admired and so respected. And Jamie was super, super social. And I felt like Lauren was like close with all the men. And she had like the immunity thing, which to me, I thought like Survivor, I thought no one even cared about challenges anymore. I certainly don't. But you got to look at the jury. And I know that the jury, like you have these people who do respect that and want the, like, what did you win? Okay. So what I'm saying is, no, now I forgot.
It's okay because we're all right. I know because we're starting to run out of our time here, sorry. Carolyn. So I really but it was incredible.
But I was too emotional with a jury that like they weren't like, I'm going to be crying to Danny and like they're not. That's not what they're respecting or understanding, and it didn't work earlier. Like they're not gonna. That's not like catering to them and what they're looking for.
So, okay, we all watched you go through this journey, and I have no doubt that you will be invited to go and come back to Survivor another time. Do
You
you
think
feel
so?
like I think there's no, I would bet my life that if they do another season where they bring people back, Carolyn, you'll be the first phone call they make, in my humble
No.
opinion. In my humble opinion, do you feel like that the other Survivor players will be more receptive to you now that people understand you more?
I feel like now, like my jig's up. I got to do something different. Now they know.
Hmm.
Like, don't you think? Like before, I feel like yes, people did not think I was playing. They just thought I was like whoa and doing whatever and didn't know the game, and I was just there for like, to be like the weirdo or whatever. Which I was, I was a weirdo, but
Can you be both? Yeah.
yeah, yes, I was.
Hmm.
But I, but now it's kind of like, okay, she does know what she's doing. And so like, what would I do the next? I haven't thought about it, but I feel like that's going to be hard to pull off.
Yeah. Well, I
Not that I
hope,
want
yeah, I hope that people are going to give you the benefit of the doubt more so the next time out there. And I hope, hopefully, that people get you a little bit more and, can speak your language and, have a little bit of a, easier time just vibing with you.
which not everyone's I wanted to be the jam jam, okay? And not
Hmm.
everyone can be. But I did. Like I thought like, oh, I'm like, can I be lovable? But I know I can scare people too, and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. And Carolyn, I don't think you're that you're I could go, I'm at a loss for words because I just think you're so incredible. You're such a once in a generation figure to come across in the show. And it was such a joy to get to watch you on your experience. Are you open to other opportunities outside of Survivor?
Like what?
I don't know. There's so many shows. There's no writers right now, Carolyn.
Here's the deal. This is my goal. I just want to like I'm listening to like the response that I'm getting from people, which is okay, addiction, number one. Secondly, like just that I've been able to help people be okay with being themselves. So anyway, like I just want to be able to continue just in whether that be on a like whatever it may be. I want to just continue reaching people, let people know that it is okay to be you. You don't need to oh, sorry. Does that make sense? Like, I just want to continue reaching people and that it's
Yeah,
to show them it's okay to be you. It's
yeah,
okay to be different. All that beautiful stuff. Because
yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. Of course, that Carolyn is available. If you are so inclined, check her out over on the cameo.com. That's Carolyn Wiger.
Uyghur, you said it.
Uyghur. Oh, I thought you said. I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Uyghur.
Can I say
Uyghur.
something really quick,
Yeah.
Bob? Before
Yes.
like I'm
Yes.
okay, okay, because a lot of people like I gotta clear this up because it's really, really hard for me. Anyone who knows me during the season, I would say over and over and over again, my messages, my messages. I wrote to several people like, how did you handle your messages? I would try to write people back every single day. I was mailing stuff out to people. I was for free. I was paying the postage. I was doing videos for people's orgs and people's dad's birthdays and grandpas and sending stuff and like literally paying the postage, sending autograph stuff. I was doing so much until I couldn't anymore. And I don't want to be like because I feel guilty charging like for cameos and charging like, why are you charging so much, Carolyn? It's because I can't keep up. And so I just want to like,
Yeah.
I want to get through all my messages, but I'm one person and it's just really, really hard. I need like
It's a lot. It's a
I
lot.
need an
Okay. All
assistant.
right. If are you accepting is the position open for Carolyn's assistant? Because I think you'll get
I need
resumes. Okay.
help.
All right. All right. So and then of course, Carolyn on social media, where can people follow Carolyn Wiger?
Am I supposed to know that?
Well, I think you should know that. Yeah.
I think
Where
it's
what's your you don't know what like your social media?
I think it's just my name.
Okay. I mean, look, people can find you. People can
Yeah,
find you.
yeah, put like yeah, I
Like
don't know.
search for it. Search for it. Don't
It's
be
so
lazy. Don't
that,
be
Carolyn.
lazy. Okay. All
Get
right.
it in there, Rob. Can't someone do that? You have a team.
What we'll put it in the show
Okay,
notes.
yeah,
Sure,
it's
we'll put the
me.
link there. Okay. All right. Well, Carolyn, this time goes by too fast, and it was such a pleasure to get to talk with
Oh,
you. Looking forward to many more conversations in the future with you, and hope you're up for talking Survivor with me for a long time to come.
I don't want this to end. Okay, but I just want to say this is a dream come true, and like that's all. Like this, like
Stop.
everybody
Stop.
thinks about Rob. You're a part of it, and everybody thinks about in dreams. Like you know how many times like we all watch these, we all know what's up. We watch all the like we know, and so being able to do this and do the deep dive, like it's a
Yeah.
part of the dream.
Well, thank you for taking the
It's a
time
part
to
of
do it. I know how busy you are right now. So thank you, Carolyn. And of
Thank
course,
you.
I have recently spoken with Jam Jam as well. You could find that on our website, robisawebsite.com. And make sure you subscribe to robisawebsite.com/subscribe. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.